Welcome to episode 24 of the LorainCounty.com Business Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon, and today we're talking with Ryan Aroney, President and CEO of United Way of Greater Lorain County. Join us as Ryan talks about the organization's evolution from a traditional funding model to a community impact approach. He discusses the collaborative efforts across various sectors to tackle complex social issues, as well as the direct services provided by United Way, such as the Lorain County Free Tax Prep Program. Ryan also highlights the benefits for local nonprofits and businesses, emphasizes the organization's commitment to economic development, education, health, and community building. He also shares a little of his background and what led him to his current role at United Way. I served on the board at United Way in the 2000s, just prior to Ryan joining the organization. I was able to participate in the beginning of the shift from a fundraising and distribution model towards an outcome-oriented approach. Under former director Jerry Scully and Bill Harper, and now Ryan Aroney, the United Way of Greater Lorain County plays a vital role in identifying community needs, developing strategies to address those needs, and collaborating with other organizations to implement solutions to complex social challenges. Here is my conversation with Ryan Aroney.
Ryan Aroney, President and CEO at United Way of Greater Lorain County.
Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. Could you provide an overview of the United Way of Greater Lorain County?
I like to tell people we're much different than my sense of what people think United Way is. And about more than 10 years ago now, around 2011, we started changing our business model from what I would call traditional United Way, which was corporations and business people coming together to pool their funds and then having United Way vet the best agencies in the community and then funding those agencies. In 2011, we started changing our business model to what is known as collective impact. In a nutshell, we focus on collaboration with external nonprofits, but also cross-sector organizations, so public entities, corporations, faith-based, and bringing all of those folks together around really complex social issues and working together versus asking folks to compete against each other for our funding. And then the other major change is United Way now provides direct services. So that money's not just flowing in and then out to other agencies. It's actually coming to fuel the work that United Way leads and does with our own staff.
Could you talk about some of that work?
One of our signature programs is the Lorain County Free Tax Prep, which is what it sounds like. We provide free tax returns and filing for low to moderate income workers in Lorain County. We do two things with that. First, we recruit and train volunteers. So we get people from the community trained. They become certified VITA volunteers, which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. It's a national program. So it's a really thorough process led by the IRS. And we do that here at United Way. And then we run the sites. So we place those volunteers at sites across the community. We market and promote to people who need their taxes done. And even for people who maybe missed the filing deadline or have past years that they need to get caught up on, we do those taxes. And it's become one of our most successful programs. We've done 1,800 or so returns a year. It saves millions of dollars, it both saves and brings back.
Could you talk about the services that United Way provides for local nonprofit organizations and the benefits they receive?
We're big into collaboration, and for each of our focus areas, we have what we call community collaboratives. And so we're focused on kindergarten readiness, for example. We bring all the agencies together that want to make an effort to prepare kids for kindergarten. And a lot goes into that. Of course, there's United Way funding that goes into the pot for folks to use. But also, we've developed a couple of different trainings over the year, really focusing on the models for improvement. And then we've also developed a training that's more focused on personal development and leadership.
Could you talk about the work that you do with businesses and the benefits for the businesses?
We're rooted in the business community. That's how we were created. A lot of our fundraising continues to this day at local businesses where employees can donate to United Way through their paycheck. And oftentimes those corporations or those places of employment will match in some form, dollar for dollar or in some other way, with a corporate gift to United Way as well. And also a lot of our companies do fundraisers, golf outings, or whatever it may be. And so all of those funds then come to United Way to fuel all of this work we're doing. But I think now that United Way has our own services and we still are a recognizable brand and we bring a lot of people together. I think it gives companies a wide range of focus areas that they can tackle that their employees are interested in, whether that's kindergarten readiness or financial stability or anything in between. And United Way does all of that. And then because we're doing the direct services and we're boots on the ground, they can engage with us through volunteering or through other ways to really make a difference beyond even just the cash donation.
Could you talk about the value that United Way creates that accrues beyond the nonprofits and the donors? What are the impacts to the county, to the community? How do the residents benefit from the work that you do?
One part of that is our vision as an organization is to have a thriving Lorain County. And we have this continuum really of focus areas, and it starts with kindergarten readiness. But if we can get our kids ready for school, it's not only an education focus, that's a long-term economic development focus. If we have high performing, high quality early education and those kids are ready, they move on and they graduate from high school on time. They go to college, they come back hopefully and work in Lorain County. But also it's a benefit to businesses to attract new jobs and new employees because we have that system set up where there's high quality childcare. And so it works on both ends. And then another focus of ours is health, making sure people, kids, families are living healthy. And we know one of the leading indicators of that is educational attainment. So if you graduate on time and you get a job, you're going to be healthier based on the data. And so all of that not only helps the people, the residents of Lorain County just be educated and healthy and financially stable, but it's actually an economic benefit for the community. The other piece I think involved our purchasing of our headquarters building in downtown Lorain. We really try our best to bring people to our business in downtown who might not otherwise come here. So we've invited donors down, we've hosted some of our corporate partners here, and if we can take them to some of these great businesses, they start coming back on their own.
How do you define success at United Way? What metrics do you use to measure your progress towards your objectives?
We want to solve all the complex social problems in Lorain County so that we're no longer needed. Obviously, that probably isn't going to happen, but that's really the vision. We measure success by how much systems change have we created and how upstream are we getting? Are we eliminating needs? Are we filling gaps? Are we using data to inform our decisions? And that's a long, complex, intense process, but we think it's worth it.
Going forward, what trends do you see in the county, in the nonprofit sector? How do you see United Way adapting to these changes?
When the need is highest tends to match when the fundraising is lower. And whether that's the Great Recession or COVID or you name it, that's a struggle in the nonprofit world. I think what I'm proud of is that United Way is not competing against any other nonprofit agency in the community. And I don't think any of us are competing against each other. We're actually competing against the factors that are creating poverty in whichever focus area a nonprofit has, food insecurity or kids not being ready for kindergarten or whatever it might be.
Let's switch over and talk a little bit about you. What's your background and what led you to the CEO role at United Way?
I grew up in Lorain County. I graduated from Oberlin High School, and I took the bus to Lorain County Community College to get my associate's degree, and eventually transferred to Cleveland State and graduated. I got my bachelor's in communication from Cleveland State. My whole life, even at Lorain County Community College, I played sports. I played baseball at LCCC, and I really didn't know anything else that I was passionate about besides playing. And so I knew I wanted to be involved in sports or athletics somehow because unfortunately I wasn't going to be able to play forever. So I got involved in athletics in a variety of ways. I worked for some professional teams, college teams. I did journalism, but I started realizing that most of the teams I was involved in had some foundation, community-based work that they were doing. And I was getting really excited about like the Tuesday off day, going to some rec center somewhere and doing a camp for kids. And I started thinking, wow, that would be really fun to do that back in Lorain County. And just on a whim, I started looking to see if there were some jobs. I don't even know if I would have said I was looking for a nonprofit job. I'm not even sure if I knew enough to say that, but I was just looking and I saw a job open at United Way. I didn't really know what United Way did. The job was a donor engagement specialist. I didn't know what that meant, but I went for it. And my predecessor, Bill Harper, was involved in that interview, and I really appreciated him and what he was doing. And they called me and offered me the job, and I accepted before I even knew what they paid, which I wouldn't recommend as a negotiation tactic, but it worked out. And so that was in spring of 2011. And right away, I fell in love with the mission, and we were doing the business model change, and that made a lot of sense to me. It was special to be back home. I learned a lot from Bill and the staff that we've had here over the years, and just progressively moved into some other roles. And then in 2019, Bill announced his retirement, and I had just started towards an MBA through the partnership at Lorain County Community College. And I just was like, I wonder if that might be a job I could go for. And I asked Bill for his feedback, and he said, yeah, you probably should want to go for it. So I started to shadow and learn more about the operational side and focused on that in my MBA. And so the board did a national search, but I had different background and different skills than Bill, and he built a lot of really great things, and we kept a lot of what started. But I had a vision for how I would do it, and that's what I pitched to the board. And I didn't feel like I would be good if it was in a different way, and I didn't feel like there was anyone better if they agreed with the way that I wanted to do it. And luckily, they agreed with me. They gave me a shot. That was December of 19, and then a few months later was COVID.
Good timing.
Great timing. And then we went remote, and I was working from my dining room table because my wife had the office for her job. And I call it the office. It's a spare bedroom that has a cat in it. But she was working from there, and I was at the dining room table. And this is like 3 months into my tenure as CEO. And Bill Harper graciously, when he left, said, hey, if you ever have any questions, feel free to give me a call. And I was kind of keeping that in my back pocket. You know, if something crazy ever happens, I'll call Bill. And the world was so different all of a sudden. And we're trying to do a COVID relief fund with all the foundations here in Lorain County, which we did. And everything was going so fast. I said, I'm going to call Bill. I just want to get his advice and see what he thinks. And I took my phone out and I started to look up his number. And then I paused and I was like, Bill doesn't know what the heck to do. Nobody does. None of us have ever lived through this before. And that was actually a big confidence boost to me to just focus on doing what I thought was best for the community. And it was a terrible time, but I think we did everything that we could do to help as many people as possible.
In the time you've been with United Way, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
I think a lot, which is pretty cool because I lucked into the job that it happens to be so perfectly aligned with my life. A lot of the services that we provide would have helped my own family, and we're doing it here in my community that raised me, so that's always special. I think the business model change has fostered collaboration and working together. I've seen a change from 2011 to now on how the nonprofits in Lorain County work together. And I don't know that we can take all of that credit. There's some special people out there, but hopefully our business model and trainings and philosophy have encouraged people to work in this way. And I think maybe more specifically, we have an initiative called United We Sweat, and fun name, we provide free health and wellness classes throughout Lorain County. And that has grown to be one of our great programs with amazing partners. And we continue to improve that to this day.
Outside of work, what are your hobbies and interests, and how do they help recharge you?
Oh man, I love being outside. I love to fish. Unfortunately, I haven't been fishing in a long time because of work and life, but I would say fishing, just being at the beach. I really like traveling and exploring new places. My wife and I, we have a 3-year-old son, hence not having gone fishing in a long time. But right now, it's just all about him. And I care about my job. It's important for me to be as best as I can. But really, it's most important for me to be a good dad.
Finally, where can people get more information about United Way and connect with you?
Check out our website, uwloraincounty.org, and follow us on social media at UW Lorain County. We also have an impact update you can sign up for on our website that we send out monthly. And for those who are interested in doing some public policy advocacy, we have an advocacy blast that we send out on demand as needed when we have urgent calls to action to reach out to local, state, or even federal elected official.
Thanks, Ryan, for your time and insights.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the LorainCounty.com Business Insights Podcast. We hope you found this conversation informative and that it provided some ideas that will help your business continue to grow. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform to hear each episode where we shine a spotlight on local resources that will boost your business. And we want to hear from you. Email ed@loraincounty.com to share your feedback and topic ideas.